Okay, part 4 of the Silverstone breakdown of how they vilified Sir Lewis Hamilton. Karun Chandhok on the Sky Pad taking us through the action. So before we start, who the fuck is Karun Chandhok? Here he is, look. An Indian racing driver. Okay. Early career. Took part in the Indian Racing Series. Oh, what's this say here? Formula E career, 11 starts, best finish 17th position. Oh. Formula One, 11 starts. Okay, no career points. Force India links. Chandhok was linked with the Force India team, which was created in 2008. It was an Indian registered team owned by a family friend. Even his mate didn't want to employ him. Even his mate thought he was shit. Chandhok was briefly linked with the seat, along with with long-time supporter Bernie Ecclestone supporting him. Okay. Who your friends are, eh? Chandhok said in Autosport he was targeting a move to Force India in 2011. Chandhok believed that the commercial benefits for the team running an Indian driver made him an obvious choice. Funny how commercial benefits are big in Formula One rather than sporting ability. Yeah? Commercial benefits or elite sportsman. What are we talking about here? Because he's not a fucking elite sportsman, is he? He's a fucking bullshitter that's got no fucking ability, and yet he's the person that's analysing an 8-time world champion that's won 104 Grand Prix. This prick that's won fuck all is trying to analyse Lewis Hamilton. You know, look at him. Formula One, 10 races, finished 22nd in the championship. 2011, one race, finished 28th last. Didn't even think there were 28 drivers in the championship, but he managed to finish 28th. But we'll get Karun to let you know what he thinks. So let's have a look. Now I will have to probably either pause or stop the footage of this because it shows you footage of the race, even though it's being played through a YouTube channel, because this is the Sky Sports YouTube channel showing this. You can go and view this video online. It's had 338,000 views. 3,000 people have liked it. Okay. So you can have a view of it for yourself, but I will probably have to stop it because they'll still detect copyright of the fact that I'm using footage of F1. But let's have a listen to what Karun says.
Have got the tools to try and analyze it. Let's take a beat. Let's look at it from the start, the way the whole of that first lap unfolded, because it was a fantastic battle. I was waving my arms.
Karun was waving his arms because we were all waving our arms, weren't we? Right. Let's have a look if Max stays within track limits in keeping ahead of Lewis Hamilton, or does he have to give that place back? Let's have a look.
Something exciting in the commentary box.
Let's have a quick look. Is he fully off the track? So therefore, has he only been able to stay ahead of Lewis at this point by going off the track? And therefore, oh, he's got to give that place back. He's got to give that place back. Do you remember Abu Dhabi? Remember that one? Oh, yeah, he went fully off the track, didn't he? He went fully off the track. Let's see if we can have a watch again.
Something exciting in the commentary box.
He was fully off the track. And we'll show you that from the aerial view, which shows you fully. Anyway, we'll carry on, Karun. But, you know.
Hamilton got a better start down the inside. Max had him covered, though.
Max had him covered by going off the track. That's fine.
And this was very similar to yesterday. Lewis making sure he brings the car all the way across to the right-hand side. He's already thinking of the exit out of the loop. As Martin
because he's a decent driver. That's why, Karun.
Said he was on the right line to get the exit and get drive in the slipstream behind the Red Bull down the Wellington Straight. Max then knows that he goes.
Let's have a look. We've seen this before.
Across to the inside. Hamilton on this straight.
Wheel to wheel. It's a bit close, isn't it?
He's actually in front. 100%. He did get his
100% in front. So, what happens now? Does he chop across Max Verstappen, heading for this apex? See ahead here, right? This is a 50-meter board, right? So this corner coming up on the left-hand side, where I'm trying to wave my cursor, this is the start of the curve, and the apex is further around here. But this is actually almost like a double apex. So you clip it here, and then clip it further round. Okay, does Hamilton dive across for that? Or does he make allowances for the fact that he's got a car on his inside and give them some room?
nose in front, but Max had the inside line. And
Oh, another car had the inside line. Oh, did the other car make the apex? No, it didn't make the apex, did it? But no, let's skim over that. Max had the inside line. That's all that matters, isn't it? Is that all that matters, Karun? Let us know what you think, Karun, with your expertise.
managed to stay in front. But amazingly, just like yesterday,
Amazing.
as they came out of Luffield, watch Max. He just runs a little bit wide.
Always sounds like he's straining. Trying to push a stubborn turd out, this old Karun.
But in the slipstream now for Hamilton as they head towards Copse Corner.
Right, he's going to start slowing it down soon. See, he's got the technology. Let's have a look.
And this is the critical bit. I'm going to just pause and try and go slowly here. Watch this. As slow as we can.
Even my technology is better than this. My screen recording and playing back at a quarter speed is better than this dog shit.
Max gives him the space. So Hamilton is now up the inside.
Oh, hooray for Max, who gives him the space, having squeezed him across to this wall. Now, what Max is doing is not giving him the space. It is moving back left to try and widen up the corner for himself, to try and maintain as much speed himself. Hamilton realises that's what he's doing, so Hamilton will try to mirror that movement in also moving left to widen the corner out for himself. That is what they'll do.
But at no point is he in front. At no point is he.
He's alongside pretty much. Okay? He is, what, maybe a foot behind. Maybe 30 centimetres behind. The nose of Hamilton's car is maybe 30 centimetres behind the nose of Verstappen's car. That is more than halfway alongside Strap-on's car. We are now past the 50-metre marker. This is the braking zone. The locations of these two cars at this point in time dictate that the car on the outside has to give space to the car on the inside. The car on the inside can't run the car on the outside off the track, meaning the car on the inside can't run Max off the track on this side of the track, this left-hand side, as we saw in Austria, where the car on the inside, when it was Norris running Perez off the track, when it was Perez running Leclerc on the track, it was the car on the inside couldn't run the car on the outside off the track. Does Lewis Hamilton do that? No, he doesn't. Likewise, the car that's on the outside can't squeeze the car on the inside. They are where they are. They need to respect where each other is and avoid one another. In the same way as we saw at Austria, that Kimi drove his car into Sebastian Vettel, closed the door on him, got penalised for him. Was Sebastian Vettel at the side of the track? Was Sebastian Vettel at an apex? No, it was irrelevant. What was relevant? Well, Sebastian Vettel was on the track. He was driving his car along that track. He was entitled to be there. Kimi drove his car into him. Lewis Hamilton is on the track. He's entitled to be there. Max Verstappen drove his car into him. But what have you got to say about this, Karun?
He moved in front of Max Verstappen. Max is now.
Look at. So, Lewis is here. Who's giving who space? Look at where they are relative to this curve coming up on the right-hand side, where I'm waving my cursor. Look at Lewis Hamilton's steering angle. If you play the slow-mos with the sound, you will know that Lewis Hamilton is decelerating. This is an 8-time world champion with 104 Grand Prix victories, driving a machine that he is the master of. I would trust his judgment as to whether or not he believes he can make it round this corner, rather than Karun's assessment. Mr. 11 drives in Formula One and not a single point to show for it. Okay, Mr. Nothing. But look at how this space between the two cars converges. Does Lewis Hamilton go further away from this track, chopping Max off, or does Max move further away from that curb, chopping Lewis off? Let's have a look. Is Lewis getting closer to this white line? Is Lewis heading towards the right-hand side of the track? Or what's going on?
Now coming in, turning in, Lewis, as Jensen rightly said though.
Oh, so Lewis is getting closer to that side. But Lewis is turning in. Lewis is getting closer to the right-hand side of the track. But who's getting closer to the right-hand side of the track much quicker? Because they've turned in at a steeper angle. Oh, well, this would be this car that's cutting in across him.
Does appear to be wide of the apex. When they make...
Where's the apex, Karun? Where's the apex? Oh, he appears to be wide of the apex. Where's the apex, Karun? Mr. Formula One driver. Apex. Somewhere around here? Where I'm waving my cursor? Does Lewis appear to be wide of that? Well, he's not there, is he? We don't know whether he's wide of the apex or not, do we? What we know is his front wheel has just taken a big hit. And in doing so, Lewis has had to counter steer. Now, you don't see that at this speed. You see it on the ones that I've showed you. Slowed down at an appropriate speed. You see the impact on the tyre. You see that jolt on Lewis Hamilton's steering wheel, which he has to then counter steer, and in doing so, at that speed, drags him to the left, okay, and keeps him away from that curb. At this stage, can you say whether Lewis Hamilton is likely to get close to this white line? He doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to touch the white line. He doesn't have to be on that curb, okay? He has to make it around here, leaving the car on the outside track room and not run him off the track on that side of the track on the exit of the curve. That's what the rules of engagement are. It's nothing to do with having to hit an apex. Does Lewis Hamilton look like he is on course to take a tight enough line around there to leave the other car track room? The answer is yes. This is even after he's been jolted. Okay? That's the line that it looks like. But he's trying to describe this as understeer. So this is... Okay, look at that point there. Look at that point there. Look at that steering wheel. Look at the steering angle. Where is that car heading? Will you draw a straight line? Okay? You draw a straight line. It's there. Where's that straight line for the wheel? It's heading for this bit of curbing. You can't say otherwise. That's before the impact. That's before the impact.
When they're making...
That's after the impact. And now, after the impact, where is it? It's missing it now, after the impact. But you can't pick up on that. Your level of expertise, Karun, as a former Formula One driver with 11 races and fuck all to show from it, right? Your level of experience and your level of expertise cannot show that to a worldwide audience. But you get retained, and yet Grand Prix winner Johnny Herbert doesn't.
Contact, his trajectory, I'm just going to go back a little bit. You could see his trajectory.
Back a bit. So what's his trajectory now? Does Lewis Hamilton look at his steering, look at where Lewis is steering, look at where his car is heading? Okay? Does that car look like it's going to be close to, if not on that curb? Answer, yes.
Trajectory is also...
It's only afterwards that steering wheel's taken a jolt, and when you take a jolt at that speed, it all happens so quick, he's had to counter steer, and that significantly shifts him. Again, he doesn't slow it down enough to demonstrate that to you. That's before the impact. Where does it look like that car is heading? He's got a right to be on track. He's got a right to space. This car, look at where this car's driving across him. What's the trajectory of that car? Max is on full lock. This car's coming around here. Is that leaving enough of a space for Lewis Hamilton? Well, it's not, because this wheel hits him. So it's not left him enough space, has it? If that car wouldn't have hit him, would Lewis have made it around there? Yes, it would. Well, this car's just driven across and hit him.
Trajectory is also heading wide of the apex. He's not going there. The car's not heading, it's sort of going in that angle, slightly wide of the apex of the corner. And they've made contact at that point, and he's understeered wide. Let's go on board with Max.
He's understeered wide. He's not understeered wide, dickhead. His steering has been impacted. His line that he was taking round there has changed. It's nothing to do with being understeering wide. This is a fucking supposed expert describing that as understeering wide. You've just been collided with, and that's upset your car. And therefore your car has got... It's nothing to do with understeer. Wanker.
Max and see the other perspective here. So Hamilton on the right. Now watch Max's head. He's looked to the right-hand side. He's spotted Lewis in the mirror. Go slowly. Watch his hands.
Go slowly.
Watch his hands. He's turning
right, 50. So he's trying to squeeze again.
Right. And just at this point, he sees Lewis.
Right, so look at that steering.
And there, he makes
a correction. Right? So he knows he's there, doesn't he? He knows he's there. Brundle was telling us in parts 1, 2, 3, whichever it was. Oh, I don't know if Max knew he was there, because maybe he assumed that Lewis wasn't going to be there. Let's make excuses for Max and say, oh, Max didn't know and just turned across Lewis, thinking that Lewis would have backed out. Oh, I'm expecting the other guy to yield here, because usually when I bully him, he just backs out. That's okay, is it?
It's a correction. He turns left. I'll go back again so you can see it. Watch. He's turning right into cops, sees Lewis, makes a correction.
Okay, you realise you've got a car alongside you. You can't turn across its line. You've got to give it space. You've got to drive around here a bit more carefully now. Okay? Maintaining that distance between yourself and that car on the inside. That means you've got to slow down a little bit. What does he do? Fucking sends it. Just thinks, fuck it, I'm going to send it across here and make him have to back out. Oh, he didn't back out. Oh, I was expecting him to back out. Whose fault's that? Who's driving without due care and attention? Who's driving recklessly? Oh, but I was it's not my fault. It's not my fault. I expected him to have to stop. No, dickhead. There's two of you on track racing. It's a duel. They're allowed to do it as well. It's respect for one another. But you don't have that, do you? Prick boy.
Gives him space. He's trying to give him room.
He's trying to give him room. No, he's not. He's trying to cut across him and make him back out. Look at this steering angle. Look at that steering wheel now. Is that trying to give somebody room by putting that steering input in? Is that trying to give somebody room? We can see the cars driving around the outside when we've seen Bottas and Hamilton in this situation, when we've seen Norris and Ricciardo in this situation. Do you see the car on the outside trying to give the other car room by putting in steering inputs like this? No, you don't. There's a reason.
He has given him racing room, but he's...
No, he hasn't. He's cut across him. If he'd have given him racing room, his rear tyre wouldn't have cut into the line of Lewis Hamilton's car, hence connecting with Lewis Hamilton's front wheel. So don't try and project that he's tried to give him racing room. He clearly hasn't, because he's cut into the line of Lewis Hamilton's car.
Also, I think, expecting Lewis to have backed out of it.
Oh, he's expecting Lewis. Oh, why should he? Why would you have that expectation? Oh, because Lewis has backed out twice before when Max has actually fucked it to him. Oh, so he's expecting he'll do that every time, because that's now okay, is it? You're just allowed to drive your car at the other one and expect them to move out the way. No, 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 kids, that's not Formula One racing.
That's the critical thing. I think Lewis expected Max to back out of it.
No, Lewis expected to be afforded track room because that is what he was entitled to. Max didn't give that.
Max expected Lewis to get back out of it.
Max expected Lewis to back out of it. Why would you do that? Because you're allowed to get away with driving like that. An illegal way of driving that you've never been penalised over. Oh, so no wonder you'd expect the other guy to back out. Where you expect to be allowed to just bully them. Expect to be allowed to just drive your car at their car and they have to be the ones that get out of the way. You expect that, you entitled little fuck.
But they're both racing drivers fighting for the World Championship, and neither of them were going to back out of it. And ultimately, that's kind of what happened. I think Max, yes, could have given Lewis more room. Lewis equally.
We've got a car ahead now, and it's going ahead.
Could have gone more.
Does Lewis expect Max to back out now and just cut across him? Oh, I've now gone a half a car length ahead. I expect the car on the inside to back out, so I will just go. I'll take the line that I want. Is that what happens? No, it doesn't. Lewis is aware that this prick on the inside isn't going to obey the rules of engagement and still continue to send it, so drives accordingly.
To the curb on the right hand side.
Oh, he didn't hit the apex. He didn't hit the apex. Oh.
On the right hand side.
So Max is allowed to force this car. Where's he force Lewis?
Let's look at it from.
Oh, he's allowed to push him out here on this corner. Yeah? Where's the apex? Well, this car back and forth? Is that the conventional way of taking that corner rather than sending your car over here and forcing the car? We didn't get there on cops, did we? We didn't get there on cops because the collision took place before the entry of the corner. Because Prick Boy jumped across Lewis to try and shut him out.
From the helicopter standpoint, I'll move it along so we get round towards cops and we can see here. Now this is where Lewis comes up down the inside. We're going in slow-mo, you can see here. Now he's got...
I think that's a 150 board. More than halfway alongside.
Got room. Clearly Max has given him room and
Sorry,
now he's trying to turn...
That was the 50 board, sorry. Let's just rewind that a fraction. Okay.
We're going in slow-mo, you can see here. Now he's got...
Okay, so that is the 50 board. We know from the onboards that I've showed you that this is the braking zone. We know that this is the sound where there's a deceleration. The engine revs are dropping. Look at the distance. This is the line across here, approximately 30 centimeters behind. Half a car half a car length, okay, is what is the acknowledged rules of engagement for once you are halfway alongside, you're entitled to space. Now look at the space between the cars here. Does the space between Lewis and the edge of the track appear to converge so that Lewis is looking to make it around the edge? Does Lewis just carry on, forcing Max away from here? What converges? Does Lewis converge with this edge of the track, or does Max converge onto Lewis?
Got room. Clearly Max has given him room and now he's trying to turn in. Watch as they get to that.
Has Lewis turned in? Well, clearly Lewis is turning in. You can see the attitude of Lewis's car, it's turning in. Who's turning in at a faster rate? Who is the one that has converged that space down? Because Lewis is closer to the edge of this track here now than he was back there. Let's have a look at that again.
In slow-mo, you can see here. Now he's got room. Clearly,
they've moved out. Well, Lewis has moved out to the midpoint of the track to try and widen the corner out. Max moved out there to try and widen the corner out. Lewis is now looking to try and make it around the corner by closing in on this edge of the track. And this space between the two is just converging. Go back a second. So look at the space between the two.
He's got room. Clearly, Max has given him room, and now he's trying to turn in. Watch, as they get to that point, here, you could argue.
So who's narrowed that distance down between the two cars? Who has narrowed the space between the two cars down? Lewis is taking the line to make it around the corner. The car on the outside could easily keep a wider line and come around the corner here. Who's trying to come across here? Who's trying to come across there and make that apex themselves? Okay, rather than take a nice sweeping line around here. No problem, is there? But no, whose back wheel cuts into the line of the other car? You could argue though, Karun. Tell us what you could argue.
That Max has now started to pinch him. He's
Oh, yes, you could argue that. And why could you argue that? Because that's what's just happened. You could argue that Max has tried to pinch him. Well, or you could just state Max has just taken all his space, hasn't he? He's just driven across him.
expecting, however, for Hamilton to be there further.
But he's expecting for Hamilton to be... Why would you expect for another car to be there? Okay, it's not about what you expect. Oh, sorry for causing the crash. I was just expecting the other car to be somewhere else. Is that a valid excuse? Try that the next time you have a crash. Oh, sorry, police. Sorry, insurance company. It was just I was expecting the other car to not be there. Or no, it's your responsibility as a driver to observe where the other cars are and make sure you're not going to hit them like that. Oh yeah, but I was just expecting them to not be there. What kind of bullshit's that?
Further inside, not slightly exaggerated, but for Hamilton to be further on the inside. So,
should Hamilton have not been expecting that this space in between the two cars was respected by the car on the outside? Because he's got all of that space there with which to maintain a line around there, whereas Hamilton is coming on this line here, a tight line into the corner, okay, trying to make it around there whilst competing. And naturally, you're going to try and keep as wide as you can in to maintain the speed. You're not going to hug this line around here, making the corner even tighter than necessary. You're going to try and make it as wide as possible by keeping wide on entry and therefore allowing you to take that corner quicker. And the driver on the outside therefore just gives you that space and takes a sweeping line, but instead they chop across you. They converge this distance between the two cars. They're the ones that cause the problem.
this is what the stewards will be looking at. Has Max given Lewis enough space there? And equally, has Lewis given enough space?
Equally, has Lewis given him enough space? What a load of bollocks.
To Max around the outside. So,
has Lewis given Max enough space around this? But Lewis has given between this front tyre here and the edge of the track. He's given that much space to Max on the track. Is that enough? Well, it wasn't, was it? It wasn't enough for Max because Max wanted more than that. Lewis has got between there and the edge of the track. Max has got between there and this edge of the track. And that is not enough for Max. That's Lewis's fault because he didn't give enough space to Max because Max didn't have all this room at his disposal and that wasn't enough for him. What a load of absolute bollocks.
if I...
That's 2 frames too late, and with each frame they move several meters. Where's the apex, Karun? Oh, Lewis didn't hit the apex. Oh, why didn't he hit the apex? Oh, because it was well before. Can't even see where the apex is.
outside.
Oops. Let's have a look.
So,
there is the collision point. That is the impact. Look at the 2 angles of the cars. Is Lewis Hamilton's car on course to clip a curb or be somewhere near the curb at this point here? You can see all the other videos that I've done, because often drivers don't even touch the side of the track there. Often they're still 6 inches, a foot, 30 centimetres from that white line on the track. You don't even have to hit the curb. There's nothing in the rules that state that. But if you're on the outside of that car, you've got to give it room. What's Max Verstappen done? Has he put his car on a line that's cutting across this natural line that Hamilton's allowed to be on? Yes, he has. Just chopped across him. That is not maintaining a line around here, a curve that is going to be running in unison with the car on its inside. No, it's trying to bully him. It's trying to chop across him. It's expecting him to pull out, impeding him.
If you ask me, they could have both done more to avoid the incident.
What could Lewis Hamilton have done differently? Lewis could have backed out, because you expect him to back out to a bully. No. It's not okay. Not okay. Never will be.
I would put it down as a racing incident. If I had to rule on that, I would put it down as a racing incident. That both.
You put it down as a racing incident, even though all you've tried to do is validate Max Verstappen and vilify Lewis Hamilton. Suggest that Lewis could have given him more room without saying Max needed to give him more room.
Both drivers could have made more of an effort to not collide there.
Max Verstappen fluffer. That's what you are. Okay, that's what. So this is yet again the narrative being presented. They get the expert with the technology breaking it down, and yet still that breakdown doesn't identify the true cause of that crash. Doesn't identify where Lewis Hamilton was, what the rules are, the rules of engagement, at what point you are relative to the vehicle means that you are entitled to space around that corner, and who converges and takes that space away and runs into the line that the other car had a right to be on. Doesn't show you that. Instead, it validates the driver who is at fault. What's going wrong there? How come we've got experts that are giving you wrong information? This isn't a matter of opinion, okay? It's not opinion based. Certain things are fact. There are rules. There are rules of engagement. Lewis Hamilton had a right to be where he was. The other car then converged in on the line that he was on without maintaining that distance. It was entirely Max Verstappen's fault. And yet, what do they say? Oh, did Lewis leave him enough room? And what does the strap-on fanboy go? Oh, Lewis didn't leave him enough room. Lewis didn't hit the apex. Lewis understeered. They don't know about understeer. They don't realise that the apex is nothing to do with it. You've just filled their heads with bullshit. Right, that'll do for this one. Next one is the continuation, because this goes on and on and on. It is incessant what the Sky Sports presentation team do to vilify Sir Lewis Hamilton.